nothing will stand in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back live here, Human Events Daily. Very excited on Phoenix, Arizona. And we're so excited, by the way, about our new partners over at Steak and Shake. Folks, somewhere along the way, we traded real flavor for seed oils and processed junk. It's time to take back our kitchens, and Steak and Shake is here to help. Introducing Steak and Shake's 100% pure beef tallow. No chemicals, no fillers. You know, these guys are great because it's just premium beef fat rendered the old-fashioned way, the way my Polish grandparents used to do it. And right now they have two options to choose from, both at steakandshake.com. That's Steak and Shake with the letter N. There's their grass-fed beef tallow, only $9 a jar. And there's also their American Wagyu beef tallow, just $12 a jar with a rich, buttery taste, or bundle both for $19.99 and revolutionize your cooking. Fry the crispiest fries, sear the perfect steak, roast vegetables bursting with real flavor. This is how food should taste. Bring tradition and taste back to your table with Steak and Shake beef tallow. Order now at steakandshake.com. That's Steak and Shake with the letter N. All right, very excited now, by the way, as well, to have on our next guest. It is the Pentagon Press Secretary, Kingsley Wilson. She joins us now. Kingsley, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, Jack.
Well, Kingsley, I just wanted to mention, you know, do you have a message at all for the mainstream media who always so love to watch your appearances here on the program? I saw so many of them commenting last, so I'm sure they're here watching right now.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure they are. I think they love human events. But no, we are happy to be joining a new member of the Pentagon Press Corps, and excited for all the great coverage that you and the program are continuing to do of the Pentagon. So we're very excited about that, despite the mainstream media's dismay that you're one of our credentialed reporters.
Well, thank you so much, Kingsley. And look, as I've said from the outset, and to anyone who's asked, you know, our job is to tell the story and tell the true story about what's going on, and we certainly did that over the summer with the various military operations that took place, Operation Midnight Hammer, all the rest of it, and we'll continue to do so. And so I'd be remiss, you know, the last time you were on here, we talked about Venezuela, we talked about in general the cartel strikes that have been going on. That's increased. You actually were one of the first people to give us that, you know, kind of a scoop on that. What are we seeing in terms of this, and what are you able to tell us at this time regarding that?
Absolutely. So we have not stopped seeking out these narco-terrorist threats across the region. Just last night, we had our 16th strike on a drug-carrying vessel with narco-terrorists aboard. 66 narco-terrorists have been eliminated through these strikes, and that is a direct result of the charge that President Trump gave this department, the War Department, when he declared them designated terrorist organizations. Now, because of that designation, we have the ability, as the War Department at the Pentagon every day, to track these networks, to make sure that we find them, hunt them, and kill them, because they are attempting to bring deadly drugs to the United States of America and to poison our people. That has to stop. You've seen the president say it time and time again. Each one of these vessels, if it got all the way to the United States of America, would kill 23,000 people. That is totally unacceptable. Each narco-terrorist that we are taking out is saving American lives.
And so when you're looking at this, by the way, and I've pointed out as well a number of times to other folks that were the U.S. Navy to conduct a VBSS operation and actually put boots on one of those boats, that's actually far more dangerous and risky for the sailors involved in such an operation or an interdiction, which includes some kind of VBSS element, than simply what the military is doing here.
Absolutely. And I think these strikes are also sending a message, right? If you're someone who wants to bring deadly drugs to America, if you're a part of a cartel, you're a narco-terrorist, you're going to think twice about getting in a boat and making your deliveries because the U.S. military is on watch. Absolutely no one can hide, no one can run. We are all over the region working with our partners to make sure that we have the assets that we need to be able to execute on behalf of President Trump and the American people. You know, Jack, you're a Navy guy. We're sending a carrier strike group to the SouthCom AOR. I can't remember the last time that's happened, and it certainly hasn't in recent history. It is historic that we are going to be sending an aircraft carrier to that region to deal with this threat. It shows just how serious President Trump is about protecting the American people, our waterways, our hemisphere, and our borders, and that is what we elected him to do. So we're very proud to be delivering on this charge every single day.
Now, of course, the USS Ford, the strike group, moving down to SouthCom AOR, and yes, to your point, this is the first time in a very long time that we've seen any of this. We know, of course, that there's been a lot of reporting in the media, and obviously some pushback from the administration regarding the purpose of that carrier. Some, I believe it was the Miami Times or the Miami Herald, had reported that land strikes were going to be coming on the ground in Venezuela. Does the administration have a position or a statement on that?
The president was pretty clear about that. You know, he said that he hasn't made a decision yet. But what our job here at the War Department is to make sure that we're preparing for every scenario. Wherever we are in the world, we want to have options for the president. We want to have contingency plans. So having these assets in the region, not only does it send a strong signal to these cartel terrorists that want to wreak havoc on our people, it also ensures that if the president wants to make a decision or wants to do something, we have the people there to execute on that mission. So that is what we are doing all across the region, and we will continue to make sure the president has that optionality, and we will seek to follow his direction every single step of the way. But again, I can't underscore how historic this is. We are so used to seeing carriers and carrier strike groups in the Middle East. Now we're protecting our own homeland. We've spent decades protecting other homelands. Now we're making sure that the American people are safe and taken care of, and that is truly something that this department is proud of.
So, Kingsley, as we're discussing this, you're talking about resources, you're talking about military resources. We do know as well, though, that there is a question regarding, and I remember, by the way, being a former employee of the, at the time, Department of Defense, when we went through, I think it was the 2013 shutdown. There were questions about furloughs, there were questions about pay, questions about military pay as well. What is the current status of this? Is the military getting paid? Will they be getting paid? And where are we at with the shutdown?
So thankfully, thanks to President Trump's direction, the military has been getting paid. So that is something that we are doing despite the Democrats' refusal to fund the government and to pay our troops. They have voted now 14 times, I believe, to not pay our federal workers and our troops. We're finding a way to do that. We're reallocating funds where we can. But this shutdown is definitely hurting our military families. Think about military spouses, for instance. 58,000 military spouses are employed by the federal government, and many of those families rely on two incomes to support their large families. Now they're having to rely on one income. There is a lot of stress that we are putting on our service members that is totally unfair, doesn't have to happen, but Schumer and the Democrats would rather focus on, free health care for illegal immigrants and slush funds for PBS than take care of our service members and their families, and that is truly disgraceful. I cannot tell you the amount of psychological harm this does to a lot of our military families. A good example of that is permanent change of station moves. When you're moving from one duty station to the next, you're bringing your whole family with you, all of your items in your house. That is something the military helps you with. Right now, those moves are on hold. So families are in limbo. Perhaps they've sold their house, perhaps they've packed up all their stuff, and they're now stuck in a holding pattern until the government can reopen. That is totally unfair. Our military members and their families deserve better. So we surely hope that the government will reopen and the Democrats will stop playing politics and make sure that they get our service members what they need.
That's exactly right. And, I remember just, from having been in the military, you look at a PCS, you look at anything, TDYs, all of this requires budget, all of this requires outlays. And for the folks, when you're on active duty orders, your entire life circulates around the military and government work. That's the point. That's the idea, that you're willing to give up and volunteer to go in, and we have the all-volunteer force. And so the other side of that equation, the two-way street, is that you will be taken care of. So your housing, your health care, your benefits, et cetera, that all comes from the government. And to your point, while basic pay is still going out, it's all of this other stuff that does affect your standard of living, does require more outlays. And so I appreciate the fact that you're talking about military families here, because I really feel that for a lot of these folks, that military families and military spouses, they do so much for their service members when they're in, and they oftentimes get overlooked.
Absolutely, and that's something that we've been really, really focused on here at the department. You know, we talked a little bit about the PCS moves, the permanent change of station moves. We actually launched a task force to make that process better. We also recently launched a new barracks task force. We're going to make sure that our barracks are up to standards and where they should be, because a lot of the conditions that our service members are living in, frankly, aren't good enough. And there's been a lot that has fallen to the wayside. So we at the department are focused on making sure that the members of our military have lives and high standards, and they have living conditions that are worthy of the hard work they do every single day. That is, of course, easier when we have government funding. So we will get to continue all of that important, great work when the government reopens. Certainly, we hope it's soon.
Well, you and me both. Kingsley Wilson, where can people go to get more information about everything your office is putting out?
Yeah, thanks so much. Please follow me, PressSec DOW. Also, our Department of War page puts out great content every single day, so check us out.
All right, thank you so much. That's Kingsley Wilson. She is the press secretary for the War Department, joining us here, Human Events Daily, as we are members of the new Pentagon Press Corps. We're going to go back now, got to dig in on elections a bit more. Adam Weiss joins us next. Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice.